Slowhands Rock Talk Show.
If you want. Right, but Linda, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I feel like I should still call you Miss Muir.
No, please
for
don't.
Those that are watching, you were my teacher at high school. I counted this back 27 years ago.
That would be correct, because it was just when I started at
So you started Denny High School. You'd been teaching before that. I was going into 5th year, so I reckon I would have been about 16 probably. Mm-hmm. And do you remember the first time we met? You probably don't, because you've taught that many students, but I remember. Will I tell you?
Yeah.
I turned up to your class late, and I didn't even apologise. I just wandered in, sat down, and you gave me a bollocking. That was our first meeting. So I'd like to apologise now for being a wee bit of a pain in the arse back then. But
it was a small. Was that the higher class?
It was the higher music class. It wasn't a big class.
No, there was only about 4 or 5 in it.
Yeah, and so.
Because there was a couple.
I wasn't the brightest, thinking if it had been a big class I could have possibly sneaked in under the radar. But when there's only another 4 people in the class and you wander in, and it wasn't even
obvious.
It wasn't even 2 minutes late. I was about 10 minutes late as well, and that was the start of this beautiful friendship. But before we get started, how are you actually doing?
I'm doing fine. This will be my 40th year teaching. So I'm kind of thinking...
I thought you were going to say 40th podcast.
No. This is my first podcast.
Right, okay.
It's my 40th year teaching. I've loved every minute, but I do feel as though the kids are getting a wee bit ageist now. Right. I do feel that sometimes when they turn up to my door, especially the first years, and they look and they say, who's this old wifey that's going to be teaching us the music? And we've got a couple of youngsters who are teaching some of the other classes, because there's been a bit of a turnover. And I do think sometimes they're looking to self, oh, we've drawn the short straw here. But I still get on that drum kit, I still toodle away on my guitar.
You know what's funny when you're saying that? So I was like, when you're 16,
yeah,
somebody that's 26 looks old.
Yes.
Right? No, because I had said to my other half, Alison, I was like, Miss Muir's coming over, music teacher, taught me high school, right? And I was like, I think she's retiring next year. Is that right?
I'm considering potentially, right? Yeah.
So I'm like, hold on, what age would you have been when I first met you then? And I'm thinking, when I first met you, I don't mean this in a bad way, but I was like, she's old because I'm 16 years old.
Yes.
You're probably about 10 years younger than what I am now when I first met you.
Well, I'm 61 just now.
Right.
So I don't know where that leaves you, but I'm 61. And I feel as though...
I'm going to be 44 this year.
No, you see that? All my wains are still wains. You're still a wain to me, you see?
I know.
So...
I know. Only back then I was skinnier and I had hair.
You were quiet. And you were a definite guitarist. Guitarists have a certain thing about them. They've got the floppy hair or the hair.
Well, it was the Nirvana years, remember?
That's correct, yeah. And they always have this look about them, you know, like, what you ask me that for? Like, there's always something, and they keep quiet, and then they come away with some crackers, and then you realise, because it wasn't until as time went on.
So I did 6th year study, so you would have had me for 2 years.
Yeah.
But it's funny when I think back though, because I was just, all I wanted to do was play the guitar, but I was not interested in studying for any other part, because obviously when you do music higher, you know, a huge element of it is playing.
Written and listening.
But the other part's listening, didn't want to listen, writing stuff, didn't want to write stuff, just wanted to play Metallica. And I'm still like that.
Things have not changed here.
Yeah. And you know, I kind of think to myself, if you'd applied yourself, you could have done this or that. But then, it is what it is. I was like, I just wanted to play. And I was saying to Alison, I said, Miss Muir was one of those teachers. I was like, she made me do stuff I didn't want to do. But she obviously, in hindsight, I go, oh, obviously you made me do that because you knew it would have been good for me.
And it was part of the exam. And my job is just, the kids forget this, my job is based on getting somebody through an exam. And and if I don't get through the exam, I get my bum kicked from my head teacher.
I'm not talking about the exam. I'm talking about you've got to play in the school show. That's part of your hire. All right, okay, I better do it then. Nothing to do with a hire. Or you've got to take part in this school talent show thing. That's part of your hire. Oh, crazy, well, I better do it then. Because if you said it wasn't, there's no way I would have put my name forward for it.
No. Yes, you do have to not tell lies, but you know.
It's weird.
But all these performance things, these are performance opportunities.
Yeah.
And I couldn't say that at the time. Look, in 20 years' time, you'll be glad that somebody said you've got to play in front of these people, because it's making you a stronger performer all the time.
Yeah.
And that is what's the most important thing.
Well, what's funny was I ended up winning the bloody thing.
I'm telling you this, that was some night.
But
that was some night. I remember because I'd asked the PT who
the
I'd
whole
worked
time I
with.
was just like, I didn't want to be here.
Well, the PT who I used to work with in the last school at Woodlands High School, I invited her to be the adjudicator.
Yeah.
So we had somebody in that wasn't us.
Yes.
You know, and at the end, if you remember, there was a pianist who played a very classical piece by Mozart on the piano.
You remember better
I
than me.
remember, yes, I remember who it was, but I'm not saying. And he played really well. And you stood up with your guitar, and I can't remember what the piece was with the backing track and
I
everything.
remember what it was.
What was it?
It was a Queen song called Stone Cold Crazy.
That's what it was.
It was an older Queen song.
That's right. And there was a big solo in the middle.
Yeah. But it wasn't their version. It was Metallica had done a cover version of it, and that was the one that I played along to.
Right.
Because it was a little bit more polished. Like,
yes.
Their recording sounded better because the Queen one was quite dated sounding.
Yeah. But see the big solo in the middle, the big guitar solo in the middle. There was not a slip, not a mess. It was the cleanest, most beautiful solo, and the whole performance was just wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful, and that's why.
Don't want to be here.
You never spoke,
No.
and when you got the thing at the end, I think you were like quite shocked.
So I was just like, oh no, I've got to do it again in front of people, because that was the thing. I done a gig just 2-3 weeks ago, and there was a couple there that hadn't seen me in 20 years, and they were like, I don't remember you, like 20 years ago, I don't remember you singing or that. And that was the thing. I loved playing the guitar, but I was so unbelievably shy when it came to playing in front of people. And obviously I played in a band throughout all of high school, like my pals outside the school.
Yeah.
But because there was another 4 guys, and I wasn't the singer, I was just in the background, so it was, I quite liked doing that part of it. I hated doing, see when you went to a gig and you set up and it was like doing the sound check, right, let's hear the guitar, and there's other bands sitting there, but it's just me playing. I hated that. There was a point when we done the school show, probably something similar, where somebody went way up to the back of the hall to the sound desk, right, I need all the instruments to play one by one so that we can set the levels.
Yeah.
That was like terrifying. I didn't say this to anybody at the time, but I absolutely hated the idea of it. And what's funny was I was writing songs back then, and when I did 6th year study, I think I had one class with Mrs. Riki, and the task was write a song. There was only me and the other 3 lasses or something like that in the class.
Yeah.
And I could write this, easy peasy writing a song, chords, lyrics.
Yeah.
But you had to write it down, sheet music wise, and see Mrs. Riki trying to get me, like, she's like, come on, well, it's just you and me here, just sing it. Like, how's it meant to go? I couldn't do it. And I'm like, I can't do it in front of you. And it's weird because you fast forward all these years later, I walk into a pub and I'm singing and playing in front of whoever, it doesn't bother me. But it's one of those things you've got to, I talk to people about this, especially singers, because you're a guitarist, you can get shown how to play the guitar, how to play the drums, the bass, and if you're playing in a band, you're a guitarist, similar to myself back then, right? If you want, you could spend the whole gig standing looking at your guitar. You don't need to focus. If you're the front person, you've got to go eye to eye with people.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I say to people, the only difference with your voice being your instrument, yes, you've got to be able to have some talent, hold a note, you've got to be able to listen, but you've got to have confidence. You can't teach that to someone. That's a hard one, because I've seen people that are brilliant, but confidence is holding them back. Like, they won't go out and perform, and it's a hard one to try and teach someone. And I had zero confidence.
But I could see that, and you're not the only. You are like one of thousands that I've taught who you can see the spark. You can see that it's all there, all the talent and all the spark is there.
Even Barry.
Even
Barry Frame.
Even Barry. Oh, Barry Frame, God bless his soul. I love Barry. And you can see it all there.
Yeah.
And just somehow you've just got to wait. And I know in 20 years' time that somebody's going to meet me up the high street and say, "Oh, miss, I'm in a band. I'm the singer. I'm the whatever." Look at you now. Yeah. It takes time for some people. The school bit is actually holding back the creative bit, because school is no for everybody, and that is one thing I think I've really learned over 40 years.
Has it changed, right? Because see when I'm not obviously not been in school for years.
Yeah.
And sometimes I kind of think to myself, like, you see all these new schools being built, big flashy buildings.
Yeah.
You think back to the school, Denny High, that I was at.
Yeah.
It was built probably in the 60s or the 70s.
It was 60s, yeah.
Right? But I kind of think it looks big and flashy now, because it's all. But is it just the same issues that are happening within the school? Are students the same? Because I sometimes think people brought up nowadays are brought up very different to how I was brought up.
Absolutely.
With the internet and social media and all that nonsense. The
phone is a big problem. You really have to set your trail out, like at the start of the class, just like you coming in and me bawling you out at the start. No, look, it's no phones. We've all got our poster up thing. It's no phones, or it goes on my desk. Yep. So if you're going to sit and play with it, then I'm sorry, but I'll need to take it off you. If no, just put it in your bag and you'll have it for the next. I won't take it off you for the rest of the day.
I'll give you a wee laugh just about that before you continue. I remember it probably was 5th year, so 1998, maybe 1999. I think I was in an English class, and can't remember why, but the class had to go to the library for that session. We went in, and the librarian got us to gather. Right, everybody gather around this computer. I'm going to show you something. This is called the internet. And everybody was just like, whatever. Like, what? Nobody was interested in sitting in front of this computer to look at this thing called the internet. Who cares? Let's go outside. Let's go and do whatever, talk with our pals or whatever. Nobody was interested.
No.
You look at it now, the whole world can't
function without a phone.
Without the internet.
Yeah. Can't function. When I started teaching, to do the register and everything, we had a register book. Yeah. And you put ticks and crosses in it. And that's how they counted up the absences. And it went into the office at the end of the week to see what your absences and everything were. There were no computers. They started to get an electric typewriter in the office, in the school office, so they could do their business through there. And everybody went to see this. Oh.
Well, somebody laughed at me because I was at work not that long ago, and I was like, see, when I went to high school, first and second year business studies, it was electric typewriters.
That's right.
And they're like, how old are you?
I know.
And I'm like, listen, I didn't fight in the war, but I'm telling you, there was electric typewriters. You done this with the desk and it flipped round, and there it was. And I was rubbish at that as well. And then by the time I got to 6th year, there was a computing module that I had to do, and it was like save a file and open a folder and stuff like that. That was your test, sort of thing.
But it was so much harder, because you had to go through so many processes. Now it's just click, flick and point. Yeah. Whereas when it started off, it was very hashy-bashy.
So, you're talking about teaching there, so go back to the very beginning. Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from a wee place called Ailith in Perthshire, which is no far from Blairgowrie. It's kind of in between Dundee and Perth.
So were you exposed to music from a young age? And if so, where did that come from? Was that like a parent, sibling, friends?
My dad was trained, he went through, did his grade 8 and got all his grades on his piano. He was a fantastic pianist. And then my mum's uncle, he had a dance band, because it was still the days in the 50s of the dance bands
Right.
and things, that post-war, you still went to the local town hall and had a dance.
Dancing.
And the dancing.
Yep.
And he heard that their pianist fell ill or something, and my uncle had said to my mum, "That fella you're going out with, get him in
Aye.
to come and play with us." And it started from there, and he had his own dance band, very successful round about the Perthshire area.
Right.
And then he played with Jim McLeod, he did a lot of Scots stuff, and he's
Like traditional music
went
and all
on,
that?
Yeah, did a lot of that, and went to the Canberra and did a whole couple of, you know how they have these themed cruises that you can do.
Yeah.
Well, the Scottish Country Dance cruises, they were quite big at the time.
Yep.
And he was got sent around the world doing a whole load of that. So he was always a big musician,
Right.
you know, at the time. And they sent me to piano lessons with a local
So was that your
organist.
first instrument?
Yes.
Yeah.
Aye.
And why was it piano and not guitar or something? Was it simply because he played the piano?
Because we had a piano in the house, and so he
That makes sense.
And he went to piano lessons, and the local wifey who did the church choir, she taught piano and started me off. She wasn't very good, but bless her cotton socks, she got me started, you know.
So what other instruments do you play?
Um,
And is piano your main instrument?
It's
would you
my
say?
main instrument, because when I was about 13, my dad got moved to work in Glasgow, and we moved to Balfron High School,
Right,
which was
okay.
quite big in music. They still have a good music department there in Balfron, and the two ladies there were very traditional.
Right, okay.
So I had to sing in the choir. You were just like you were saying. You know, you will be singing in that choir.
You don't have a choice, you're doing it.
Exactly.
Yep.
And if you're thinking about going on and doing music, you should be going on to teach music, and you should be learning an orchestral instrument. So we'll just put you on the clarinet, and you'll do the clarinet.
Right.
And it was all, and I just went, oh yes, and because I thought she was really brilliant, I just thought, I'll just take everything that Miss Stewart says,
Yeah.
and I'll just go with Miss Stewart. And there was another lady called, I've forgotten her name, Mrs. Mulgrew, who was more kind of, will do the poppy stuff, you know. She was the one that did the guitar and showed me a couple of chords
That
and
keeps it interesting
things.
though for
Absolutely.
students, because they can relate to that.
Absolutely.
I couldn't relate to orchestra stuff because
No.
I just wasn't interested in that.
No, but I knew that if I was going any place with the music, you have to be more open.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be. I can go to any genre of music, and I will sit there and I will enjoy it. There'll be some bits that I don't like,
But you appreciate it.
but I
and
appreciate.
You'll be like me, you'll zone in certain parts.
Exactly,
Because
exactly.
I'm a guitarist first and foremost.
Yeah.
I'm always like
Looking at the chords
what they
and
playing,
think-
what
yeah.
they using, what pedals they got, and
But even like, see, I've just come back from London.
yeah.
So on Wednesday night, this as I say, this friend that I used to teach and used to work with in Forefront Children's School in Alloa, he was brilliant. About 20 years ago now, he was in it, and he's been down in London. He's been all over the world,
Yep.
singing in the world tour of Wicked.
Yep.
He's done The Bodyguard. He's done I can't remember what else he's done, but he's just back and he's in Mamma Mia the Party now. And his husband is like him, and he's in Moulin Rouge,
Right, okay.
which is it's a show to go and see.
Is that based on the film or is it?
Based on the film,
Yeah, right, okay.
but they have updated it brilliantly, because you get all these
Newer songs and stuff.
wee snippets of songs, and Lady Gaga and,
I don't like
and
films
Adele and,
like that,
all that kind
but
of
I
thing.
actually quite like that film, and I don't know if it was because I recognised a lot of the music.
Yes,
But it's not normally my type of film, but I quite liked it, and I think it's because it was a bit crazy as well.
The show is a bit crazy, but oh my god, the singing is wonderful, and the band, you'd love the band. The only bad thing about it was, see, in the theatre in London, you can't see them. They're
Until
under
they
the
stand
stage.
up at the end.
No, you can't
Oh,
see
do
them
not?
at all, because they're under the stage and they're looking at a TV screen with a conductor.
Ah, right, okay.
You could half see them in Edinburgh. I saw it in Edinburgh
Yeah.
as well, but you can't see it
Well,
in London.
I had James Barber on, who was the guitarist in We Will Rock You. So he was picked by Brian May and Roger Taylor to play in We Will Rock You. He was on tour with Blood Brothers.
Oh, it's a great...
And listening to his story was just like crazy, like how he actually got into it. Because when they were thinking about starting, let's do a musical based on Queen's music, they went across the world looking, and it wasn't just, we're looking for musicians that are already within this game. We wanted to hear everybody. And his friend, he played in a Queen cover band. They were his favourite band. Played the guitar, played everything perfect, great guitarist. And he's like, I think he was going through some personal things. He's like, no, it's not the right time for me to do this. His friends sent, they went down to Melbourne, I think it was. I don't know if he was in Sydney or that. But his friends done like a 4-hour journey to hand a tape. Found out where the management was staying to hand a tape over, and by the time they got to the airport, they'd already called him to say, we want to speak to this guy. It was like the craziest story. You can watch it, it's on the podcast. And as I say, my brother-in-law was in We Will Rock You. My sister, she's been in every musical
down there. And now she's choreographing.
Yeah, the last one I seen her in, the last one I actually seen her in was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, brilliant.
And because I went down one weekend and I seen her in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and then her husband was in Matilda. He was the Trunchbull.
No, was he?
And what's funny, Beth, my wee girl, she was small at the time, and he'd said to us afterwards, when it's finished, just come down, there's like a wee sort of curtain bit at the front, at the side of the stage, and come backstage, I'll meet you. But he stayed in outfit. So he's standing on the stage and he's like, come here right now. But it's quite funny. But it's musical theatre is great because I think a lot of people, when they go along, visually they see it, this is absolutely brilliant. But there's so much more that goes into it, and the music is a huge part of it. Without the music, it wouldn't be possible.
No. But you, even standing at Piccadilly the other day there, before we were going into the theatre, and you're looking down and you're seeing all the different musicals. The genres of music going down that street is phenomenal, and I think that is brilliant that it's encapsulated all these different styles now. But we went to that on the Wednesday night, and on the Thursday night I was sitting in the Albert Hall at a prom, because my husband's a professional clarinetist. He plays with Scottish Ballet Orchestra, and it was a prom with a young guy I think he was from Holland, or Robert will kill me for not remember his name, but it doesn't matter. There were 2 clarinet concertos. Now they were quite short ones. In the first half, and then this big orchestral piece in the second half. And this guy came on, and the first clarinet concerto was quite modern. It was a bit Copelandy, and it was a wee bit too modern. I like a bit of a tune, and it was a wee bit too. But you could see that the guy was fantastic. But the second piece was the Artie Shaw clarinet concerto, which is a jazz one, jazz-based one, because Artie Shaw is a big jazz clarinetist. And so there was a whole load of saxophones came into the orchestra, and the jazz trumpeter and the drummer, and the whole...
It just took a whole different turn. It was amazing. And then on the Friday night, this friend who was in Forefront, he's in Mamma Mia the Party, and he got us tickets to go and see it at the O2. And it's cheesy as get out. If you don't like ABBA, don't go, because it's all ABBA music. That's right.
And they've written some new bits for it, but it's Bjorn and what's his face, they're very involved with it. Anything that's got the ABBA name on it, they're very, very involved. It's
like my sister's doing the choreography for this new Steps musical. If you don't like Steps, you're probably not going to like the show. But see if you do like Steps, see if you like pop music, especially from the 90s.
Absolutely.
You probably love it.
Well, it was crazy, and so I that was like 3 completely different genres, really. That and I could have quite happily gone another 2 nights and saw a whole load of other stuff.
Here's a question. So going back, you're getting exposed to music. Your dad, your uncle as well. What age were you then when you discovered your own musical taste? Something that was different from what your parents were listening to, and who was some of the bands or artists that you discovered for yourself? What age would you have been as well?
I don't think...
Did you have a big moment like, oh my God, the Beatles, or, you know?
Oh, it was ELO for me.
Right.
It was ELO for me. But Blondie, oh yeah, I could listen to Blondie all night as well.
But how did you come across that? Was that Top of the Pops or something like that?
It would have been Top of the Pops and discos, because we went to discos. Yeah. Kids don't go to discos so much now. They go to these raves where there's no classic hits. Yeah. It's all dum diggy dum, you know. But and even, I don't know if you remember, but at Denny, when I first went to Denny, once or twice a month we used to have the PTA discos, because it's how we raised money.
I never went to one ever.
Well, no, you would be too cool for that, son.
Of course.
But for a lot of youngsters, that's how they heard, because apart from taping off the radio on a Sunday night when the top 40 was on...
I'm old enough that you still pressed play and record.
At the ones that you liked.
Try and stop it before they start talking.
Exactly.
At the end of it.
Exactly.
But you know what, it's funny, I said, again, I sound old, but someone had asked me the same question.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'd said to them, well, back in the day you had video shops, right? You go and rent a video.
Yes.
Right? And or you would, if you bought a video out the shop, and I says, you don't get it nowadays. Well, you don't buy anything like that nowadays, but there used to be like almost 20 minutes or 30 minutes of previews and all that before the actual film started.
That's right.
And I was about 9 or 10 years old, and I don't know what it was at. It must have been advertising a music festival, and there was like 20-second snippets of different artists, and it was U2 that came up.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was like, that's just 4 guys on stage making that sound. That's brilliant. I'm not the biggest U2 fan, but it was something that was like, oh, I really like that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, got to about 10 years old, my pal came down with a copy of a cassette tape, put this in, and it was a Metallica album. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I've never heard music like this before, but Mum, I want a guitar. And it kind of like started from there. But it's funny though, because things like that happen, and it does kind of sort of change you. But what was do you remember what the first album was you ever bought with your own money?
Oh, blimey.
Or single?
I think it was ABBA. I think it was Super Trooper.
What was the...
But I had the Police, I've got all the Police albums, and I've seen Sting like 3 or 4 times. I absolutely adore that man. He went a bit funny latterly. Yes. When he moved to Italy, he went a bit kind of off-piste.
I've got a story about him, but I'll tell you off camera. Right?
Some of the songs are just absolutely fantastic.
What was the first professional concert that you ever attended? Like with friends or that?
The first professional one, and again, it was through Balfron High School. Mm-hmm. I'd seen amateur shows, and I'd been on the stage since I was very young, because my father used to play for the local amateur dramatic society, and they did pantomimes every year.
Right, okay.
So since I was about 9 or 10, I was always in these pantomimes. Mm-hmm. And I actually always deeply wanted to be an actress. That was my big thing.
Right.
But when I went for my interview in the end of second year, when you were picking your choices,
yep.
And I said to the lady, she said, oh, no, you play the piano. You'll never get a job as an actress.
Yep.
You play the piano. I mean, at least you could at least be a music teacher. You'll need to, I want to go to the RSAMD. Well, you'll need to go and do it playing the piano then. And would you believe it? But that's exactly what I did. I went to the RSAMD, which is now the Conservatoire of Scotland. But not, when I got there, I thought, maybe when I get there, I'll be able to get in with the actors and the actresses, and I'll maybe be able to get, be a bit of both, because I love the musical theatre thing.
Yep.
But I wasn't a terrible singer, voice like a foghorn. I mean, you'll hear me in the choir, I can hold the part, and in any choral group, I can hold my part and keep everybody together, and I conduct and do choirs and groups and all that kind of thing.
Yep.
But then he asked me to sing a solo, because I've just not got a very nice tone to my voice. It's too foghornish.
I don't believe that at all.
Oh, I can assure you.
Right, but it's funny, I always say to people, I think everybody should attend a concert at least once in their life, because it's such a it sounds so dramatic. It's such a magical
absolutely
experience, and it's almost regardless of the style of music. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, obviously everybody's there to see the same band. They like the same band, the same artist. They're all singing the same words and that. But it's not even that. I remember going to my first concert, and I went down to Newcastle Arena, 20,000 people.
Yeah.
Right. The band had the stage set up in the centre, so the crowd was round it. So we walk in, and the lights are still on. The roadies are still doing the sound check as the crowds come in, and see even just the drummer hits the kick drum, and you're like, boom, and you feel it in your chest, and that's something you can't get from headphones or from the best stereo system in the world.
No.
And then there's something just magical. Like I still go to concerts probably once every couple of months.
Yeah.
And I still love it the same way I loved it 30 years ago when I started going. It's never changed.
It's almost like a drug.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever taken drugs, but it is. It's that buzz that and if you're really into your music and you go and see a band or somebody that just sets you on fire.
Yeah.
You cannot replicate that in any other way, shape, or form if it's not live.
And I've seen loads of bands. I've seen Iron Maiden this year. Right, and it's all the stage effects, pyros, everything. I mean, absolutely outstanding. It's like a stage show.
Yeah.
Right? I've went and seen an old blues guy called C6 Steve who sits on a chair.
Oh, he's fantastic.
And he just plays the guitar. Just as good.
Yes.
Completely different type of concert.
Yeah.
And I've seen everything in between.
Yeah.
But it's just something magical.
That first concert I actually went to was actually in the Kelvin Hall Arena, the old Kelvin Hall Arena, which is it used to have the Transport Museum and everything in it.
Right.
And it used to have the New Year time, was it the Iron Brew? All that kind of stuff. Well, anyway, so this is years ago, and in the Kelvin Hall Arena, they had the Scottish proms. We don't have them anymore because people didn't go to them anymore. But we used to have 2 weeks of the Scottish proms.
Right.
And the RSNO used to do full 2 weeks. You couldn't get tickets. You stood, and you did everything that you do down in London. And that was the first concert, classical concert, that Miss Stewart and the Balfron High Lot, we all went to this concert. And it was a Tchaikovsky piano concerto, which I was just absolutely blown away with. And it was Swan Lake, the music from Swan Lake in the second half. And I just thought, this is incredible. And do you know the funny thing? That was my first classical concert. And my husband, who I hadn't met at the time, that was he was there that night.
Right, okay.
I hadn't met him. And I didn't meet him until we went to the RSAMD.
But it's funny because you say classical music and a lot of people automatically go,
it's rubbish.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
Right? We name drop. I was talking to Gavin Mitchell, who plays Bobby the barman from Still Game.
Yes.
So he was on the podcast, and I'd say to him, how important is music in TV and movies? And it's unbelievably. Barry Frame done a whole episode just based on that one question.
Yes.
Right?
Did he not end up? He was writing a musical. Is he still writing it?
Barry.
Aye.
He's about to. I don't know if
or a music for a film.
Yeah, it's starting filming in a few weeks.
Is that all right? Okay.
There was a delay, but he's starting to film in a few weeks' time.
Contact him then.
Right? But I'd said to him, how important is it? And I said, you know what? There's loads of young people that go, don't like orchestra, don't like classical stuff, it's not for me. Some of their most favourite childhood memories, when they think back to films they loved, it's classical, it's orchestras
it's
playing.
Orchestral music.
Because I said to him, John Williams, there's an orchestra that tours doing the John Williams songs. You got I don't know if it was Back to the Future, but you've got Superman.
My husband's played in
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And he said he'd seen it.
Yeah.
And he said it is mind blowing.
It's mind blowing.
He says it's
if you turn your volume down on a film, and you've got all the bits where it's all creepy and it's all this and it's dramatic and everything, you do not get that feeling unless that long horrible note on the double basses is in, or there's all these instruments that give that colour.
It's been the Jaws 50th anniversary. There's the perfect example.
Exactly. How important, of 2 notes.
How important is musical? Is music in a movie? Well, that film wouldn't have succeeded without those 2 piano notes.
No.
You know, but it's even like you think back to like what was it I was talking with Barry about? I think it was like the Rocky films. They're always known for like the big Rocky song,
theme,
right? But it's see the quieter moments.
Oh, absolutely.
He gets told some sad news in it, and there's it's maybe just a piano and a violin, and you don't realise you're just so used to hearing it.
Yeah.
You don't realise it's there.
Yeah.
But without that, the scene doesn't work.
No.
It's so important. But going back, right? So you play the piano. What other instruments do you play?
Clarinet, and then I was in a lot of choral stuff.
Do you do drums and guitar or anything like that?
Oh, at school? Yeah, but so when we were at, when I was at music college,
right.
So I did my 3 years in the RSAMD, and they offered me an extra year to go on and do a performance diploma. Right, and my father said to me, he said, I'm not paying for any more money to keep you in that college. Get yourself into the...
Because
you had to do I still had a year to do of the teacher training, you see.
Right.
He says, go and get that teacher training done, and then you'll be able to get a job and earn some money.
Yeah.
So I didn't take... In some ways, I wish I had, because that was the last year that I would have been able to hone my skills as a pianist.
How I don't mean like blowing smoke up your arse, but how good are you on the piano, would you say? Because I don't think I've never really heard you play, because you were always teaching.
I was always teaching, yeah, but when I'm teaching, I'm always demonstrating stuff on the piano. I can play.
Of course, I wasn't listening.
I know.
I had my headphones
and I didn't have to accompany you see, because you're your own accompanist.
Yeah.
You don't need, or you had your backing tracks.
Yeah.
I only have to accompany if it's orchestral or a singer or something like that, or played at a show.
How good would you say you are on the piano?
Well, I've got my degree.
Do you read? I'm assuming you read music, but if I
absolutely
see if I was to set a bit of music in front of you that you'd never seen before,
yeah,
are you good enough that you could automatically start playing it?
Yeah,
I think that's amazing.
That's just training. It's like you've got all your written stuff down there. You can read that, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, that's just because you were taught to read.
Yeah.
If you've been taught to read music, and hone that skill, you would open a book and you would just read the music.
Yeah, I always remember the higher exam you were doing, like it was like pretend tests.
Yeah.
Coming up to the exam, and I remember part of it, I was just like, I hate this so much, and it was like, it sounds weird because you're a musician, I'm a guitarist, but it was like, what time signature's that? I didn't know, I didn't care. And you're like, 1, 2, 3, and I was like, I could count to any number, it doesn't matter. Or what chord is that? And I'm like, I don't know what chord it is. But it's funny though, because to this day I know nothing about that. I've wrote songs, and this is no joke. I've recorded myself playing the chord, because I think I better write down this just so I remember the words and all that. And I've recorded myself playing the chord, sent it to Barry Frame. Barry, what chord is this?
Oh, for goodness sake.
Barry comes back, that's a blah, 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 blah. Right, okay, that's fine. But I was, for a while I was jamming with another guy who was a guitar tutor.
Aye.
And it blew his mind. He said, how can you write a song when you don't know what scales relate to what chords? And I'm saying, but I just, either it sounds good or it doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
But then I sometimes think you've got two camps. You've got the one I'm in, where like you've got no knowledge of chord, of
you do, but it's just you have knowledge in a different way.
But I'm just like that. I like how this sounds. I don't like how this sounds. And then you've got the other one that they know exactly how it relates. But I sometimes think you can be. It'd be nice to maybe find the middle ground, because sometimes you can be.
Oh, absolutely.
I know ones that are technically gifted, but they've got zero feel.
Yeah.
And like we can play the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I think mine sounds better because it's just played differently. We're playing the same notes.
But it's from the reading point of view as well. See if you get somebody who's a really good reader.
Yep.
Right? They can read all the stuff, right?
Yep.
And you go to a party, and for a long time I was like this, because, you must read the music, you must play everything that's on the page.
Yep.
That's a B flat. No, it's a B flat. You must play the B flat that's there, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And this is what's there, and these are semiquavers. Oh, no, you didn't play that semiquaver in that bar 33 there.
Yep.
You'll need to get that in. And you can be almost hampered by the reading.
Yep.
Because then when you go to someplace and somebody will say, play us, oh, you're a piano player, play us something, you go, I've not got my music with me.
Yep.
And that's a big drawback as well. And I remember the best thing that I got for my Christmas was my Hitachi tape cassette recorder, where I used to record the Sunday night Top of the Pops, you know, whatever it was. Because when I started teaching, I had to keep up with what was in the charts and what was relevant. Because at the time, would you believe it, there was only it was called the O grade exam, the music O grade. You must have done the music O grade, did you? No, standard grade. It would have come in after that.
Right.
Well, it was the O grade before that.
What was that, the equivalent of standard grade?
Oh my God, it was so boring. Right, so there was only about 20% of it relied on your musicianship, your playing.
I would have failed them.
and they didn't accept guitars. It was only orchestral instruments, piano and voice.
So I probably would never have even done
you
music.
would have never even done it. Mm-hmm. So we always had a certificate class in what we called the school certificate class, because you got a certificate for completing it for the 2-year course. But it was all, we were just starting to we had keyboards that were, honest to God, they were a bit like this, the baby ones with the teeny wee keys, and we had 20 of them in the class, and somebody gave me a drum kit.
Right.
And one of my first drummers, do you know DD Drums, you know David?
Yeah. His ex-partner used to live next door to me.
Well, David, he was one of my first pupils ever.
Okay. I kind of know him. I don't really know him, but I would know him to see him. Right.
He's a brilliant drummer. Absolutely crazy brilliant drummer. Nice lad. And he was one of my first drummers. When we got this drum kit in, he already had a drum kit at home that his grandpa had given him. And he was, you know, and I got him to play in shows and concerts and things that we did at the time. It was everything was changing. We had one bass guitar. You'd get money in and you would make some money off a concert, so you'd buy a bass guitar and an amp, and it was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And you'd go up the high street, up the Cow Wynd, and Music City was there on the left hand side. Do you remember that?
There was music shops,
back Jim Fakeney. I'm going back now.
Music City, and you had Sleeves right across the road from it.
Exactly. And the wee guy that used to work in Sleeves after the guy that sold it to him, he was one of our pupils as well. He was a wee keyboard player and drummer as well. And then when Jim Fakeney retired from there, it was taken over by Douglas Coulter. That's
who I remember.
Dougie Coulter. And he was at the school as well. Just in my first year teaching, he was the last year, in his last year at Woodlands.
Right.
That boy was a player and a half.
How did you cross paths with... Did you teach Stuart Blackwood?
No, but...
I thought he was a pupil of yours.
I taught Barry Smart, he's an engineer now, but he was a good wee guitarist. And he was really into, you know, putting a band together, and him and Stuart got friendly.
All right.
And we used to go up to Barry's house in Shield Hill, and they had parties, and the band they had a dining room that they used to clear, and we all used to get up and dance to them.
So you just know Stuart through that?
That's how.
And then obviously you kind of work sort of with him now.
Because then he was brought into the fold after that.
Here's a question then. So, are schools better now? So a lot of people I speak to, when did you first pick up your instrument, blah blah blah, and it's at school I've got the opportunity. Anybody want to learn the guitar? I'll do that, and they do it. And I don't know if it was just me. When I was at primary school, there was no music class.
No.
Right. When I went to high school, I would have started in August, and I think I got my first guitar that December. There was no music class in my primary school. There was a class that had glockenspiels and those sticks that you click together, and that, but there was no music teacher. So we didn't do anything. I don't know if that's different now. At that time, the primary teacher was supposed to have done a little bit of music, and it was your luck of your draw, the luck of the draw if the music teacher was put into your school. Right, okay. And sometimes they were put into the school and it worked really well, so they kept them, and then other people they didn't really want, or they had an art person instead, or they got a PE person instead. Because I remember my daughter, she went to Ladeside. And they had like a choir. Yes. You didn't have anything like that when I was at school, because you know, a lot of people.
Well, you maybe did, Ian, but you never joined it. Because it might have been an after-school thing.
Maybe I was out playing football.
Because they've always been these things. But you just it just passed you by, because you would have never noticed it, because you'd have thought, I'm not joining that.
Probably not. But what about like when you get to high school? Like I remember the high school, going to high school, you had like the acoustic guitars. That's pretty cool. You still got your glockenspiels and all that sort of stuff. There was a I think drum kit in each room, or maybe a couple of the rooms, and then obviously your keyboards was in recorders or something probably. Is that still the setup? Has it improved? Do you think in the last 30 years from when I was at school?
30 years ago, it was singing and listening, and we had these silly wee keyboards.
Yeah.
And that was just coming
Turn off the demo.
and you might have had half a dozen guitars, or there'd be like Jim Graham, who we were talking about earlier on. He might have said, "Listen, I've got a couple of guitars. Nobody wants them. You
remember I sold you a guitar?
You did, yeah.
It was it was a black Les Paul copy,
and I think we had it for a very, very long time.
Yep.
So a lot of kids have when they've finished have said, "Miss, I've bought a brand new guitar. You want an old one?" And brought them in, and that is great, because now we have in the department where we used to have like one bass guitar and you were fighting over it.
Yeah.
Or a couple of electric guitars and you were fighting over that. We now in every room have an acoustic drum kit and an electric drum kit.
So that's brilliant.
And we've got all our keyboards.
It's also brilliant for your ears.
You've just got to pop with it.
But you know, the drums though, you can't play them even quietly.
No.
You know, but if it's an electric one, you pop the head, okay, you're still hearing the tapping.
I know.
But it's not as bad.
We've got the silencer things and the hot rods, and that calms it down a bit. And when you're playing the drums, you have to be able to play the drums.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if somebody said to you, here's a guitar, but you're not allowed to plug it in. And don't get me wrong, there are some days when I've got a headache, and I do say that to my boys. Look, boys.
That's great that classrooms are like that now, because the other thing as well,
the amount of music in the exam now that's performance is greater.
Is it still?
It's about half now.
I remember the arguments that we had, because I'm like, this is what I want to play, and you're like, this is what you're allowed to play.
Yeah, I know.
Is it still a bit like that?
No, it's much, much freer. Now, you've still got to hit the standard.
Of course.
So there's rules about how many chords, how many riffs. As you go up to your advanced higher, it's got to be really quite twiddly. You can't just have a whole chordal programme, you know, and it can't just be a bad chord, it's the same one.
I actually still remember my higher music pieces.
You will do, because you played them over and over.
I played Johnny Be Good.
Yeah.
Just a very quick message to say thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any future videos, like and leave a comment, let me know what you think of the episode and give me some suggestions on who I should interview in the future. Back to the video.
That's still a higher piece?
Sorry, I don't think it was Johnny, it was like the school's version of Johnny Be Good.
Rock School, Johnny Be Good.
It's so bad because I learned it the night before the exam and it showed, because I was so bad at it, because I was like, no, don't want to play rock and roll, I just want to play rock stuff. I played that. I played LA Woman by The Doors.
Alright.
I played Cowboys from Hell by Pantera. And there was another song, I can't remember, I think it was Master of Puppets by Metallica. The big one that's in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, I'm thinking about the examiner trying to follow these notes. She must have just been like, right, he's either going to play it or he's no, and just sit there, because you can't follow me doing all these tapping things.
Do you know, that was a difficult time for school teachers who'd been teaching a long time, and they were at the end of their career at that point, because when you applied to be an examiner with the SQA, you had to know, you had to be able to play a combination of pieces on every instrument, because when you went out to examining, you were following the performance and you were watching it and listening to it as a piece of music. But it had to be accurate, because the only way to mark somebody that is actually what they're supposed to be playing is you have to have the music on the page in front of you. Right, now, if you were out at a gig, you'd be tooting about with it, and you might change bits.
Oh, the gigs I play, there's not... I'll play about 45 songs a night in a set.
Yeah.
There is not one song I play
The same.
that is either in the same key or it's not edited.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know what you're saying, you've got to play it note for note because it's in exam conditions.
How can you mark it?
Yeah.
Because then you're leaving it too open to people's interpretation. So the only way to mark it and give somebody a true mark on, can you play this piece technically and musically, because you've done the performance musically, but you have technically done everything that composer that wrote the piece or the version that you've got on the music is exactly what they are playing, because that's the only way you can mark it on accuracy.
But it's great that the schools are better equipped now than they were. The other thing I'd seen was my daughter recently, before summer there, she went to Larbert High School. They were doing their end of year show, school show. Her mum works in the high school, so she went along with her mum and she's sitting at the back, kind of near the sound desk. It was like a professional production. You know the light, the stage, the lights, everything just looked 100 times better than. I mean, you made do with what you had back then, but it's just people learning to do the lights and to do the sound and all that. I don't think you really had that back when there was people kind of doing it, but it wasn't a professional setup the same way that they've got now. No. They've got lights swirling and everything.
Do you remember we had Mrs. Lloyd?
No,
Mrs. Lloyd used to do the sound, and she was given. She was our technician.
Right.
Just no long ago at Shirley's retirement, and she had a teeny wee setup, and there would be 3 mics. And
but that's what you had back then.
That's what we had, and we thought it was marvellous at the time. Because that's all you had. Because you didn't have anything else.
I've seen the video.
But they would have hired all that stuff in, because we actually did our school show this year, and we eventually decided to do it in the drama studio because we needed less equipment. We just used what we had in the drama studio, because it was going to be £6,000 to hire the lights, the sound, the microphones. We needed a backcloth and different other things. And when we totted it all up, and we looked at it, we thought, that we can't get that money back. We're not going to do that.
What was the stage show? What was the show?
Well, we actually did Gregory's Girl with 80s tracks.
So do you remember it? I think it was Gregory's Girl we done, but I done it 2 years in a row. I don't remember what the second one was.
The other one was called, what was it called? Lion Eyes.
Because it was Daniel was on the drums.
That's correct.
And he was a few years older than me, so I think he maybe just...
He came back to do it.
He maybe just left school, but he was like an old... He was like an old hippie guy, that's what he reminded me of.
Because he went to do the art, didn't he? Because his dad was an art teacher as well.
I didn't really know him. And Stuart Denny.
Stuart Denny was on the bass?
No, he was on the guitar.
He was on the guitar?
I don't know who. Somebody would have been on the bass, I can't remember.
Oh, maybe Mr. Bolton.
I still cross paths with Stuart now and again. It's been a few years since I've seen him.
What about the big tall guy with the orange hair? Was he there and played the bass at that time?
I can't remember his name now. I know who you're meaning. He didn't, not when I was there, but I know who you're meaning. Because he had to be presenting TV job at the time.
He did.
On a kids' TV thing.
And he was... Gordon White.
Yeah.
Gordon White. Because he was big in the Falkirk Youth Theatre.
Yeah, well, I remember the Gregory's Girl, the guy that played Gregory, Stuart...
Duker? No,
Stuart... I can't remember his surname now.
Was it no Craig Duker? No, that was the next year. Maybe. After that.
Yeah. Stuart was a year below me.
Yeah.
No, Craig, was a year below me. Stuart was a year above us.
Right.
I can't remember Stuart's surname, but he played Gregory. I still bump into him occasionally in Asda. That's where you meet people nowadays. In Asda. And I've never seen Craig. I didn't really know Craig or that, so I've never seen him since I left school. But It's funny.
And I know you said, oh, she made me be playing all these things. I didn't even really want to play them. These are honestly, see the amount of folk I've met up the street, and they always say, do you remember that concert, miss, that I did the big solo in? Or do you remember that show that you made us play, and we did this, the such and such, and that was a great show. I remember, and that's honestly, these are the moments.
See, because
it's live performance.
When Barry Frame was on,
it's that buzz.
When Barry Frame was on, he was like, oh, I played, but all I kept hearing was, you're not as good as this guy a few years before you. And it was me. I'm only kidding, I'm just winding that up. Right? But I don't know if this is just me. Do all music teachers need to know how to play the piano? Because they all seem to play the piano. Or was it just the obvious choice?
It is the obvious choice, but I personally, there's an awful lot of music teachers now who don't play the piano, and it's a huge loss.
So you played those instruments. What instruments did Mrs. Reekie play? She
played piano. She did the same piano, clarinet and sung.
And I had Miss Ibbotson.
Mm-hmm. She was piano, I think it was a brass instrument, trumpet and singing.
Right, okay.
But there's people come in now and they don't play the piano.
So are they like good guitarists or just singing? Or?
It's usually they have to be a guitarist or they have to be something that's harmonic. But sometimes if you're a sax, you could be a brilliant sax player or a brilliant, I don't know, violinist.
Yep.
Right, what's going to happen when you're, like I've got a kid in my fourth year just now who's at the conservatoire on a Saturday morning, and she's just amazing on the violin. Mm-hmm. So she's bringing in her pieces that she's doing with our tutor at the conservatoire, like grade 7, grade 8 pieces. And these are the pieces that she's going to be doing for her exams in school. And I've got to play for her. So if you don't play the piano, who's going to play for her?
That's an odd one, eh?
Because you've got to, and I think people don't understand.
You're obviously spinning a lot of plates.
That is exactly correct. And you do want a department that has got lots of different, things to offer. Like we've just got a new girl in, when Miss Ibbotson left, we've got a new girl in, and she's very into the music tech stuff, right? Yeah. Which, thank God, it just can't be done.
What's that like, recording and all that?
Recording, studio stuff.
So I would have loved all that. You would
have loved all that back then.
But you see this, it's funny because the stuff you get now, like I've got a wee setup there.
Yeah.
That's like, it could be a professional setup. Pro Tools and everything.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
See, when I remember leaving high school, 99. So it would have been probably either 99 or 2000. I got a Tascam 4-track, so it was still cassette tapes.
Yes.
Right? And that's what I was saying to Barry, right? You would, this blew my mind, because prior to that, all you had was a tape recorder, playing record, right? You can record something on one track, and then you can record something on another track. You can then bounce those two tracks to another track, and it made you become, you had to, it was very primitive compared to what we've got now.
Oh, but it was big at the time.
But it also made you, I've got to be as creative as possible here.
Yeah.
And it made you think about what you were doing. I sometimes think the setup we've got now is amazing, but it's almost like too much of a good thing sometimes. But it'd be great. Like, I think back to when I was at high school. God, if you had that technology back then, it just didn't exist. Not in the classroom certainly, or at home. You had to go to a professional recording studio. But back then it would have been reel to reel.
Yeah.
And then it obviously gets digital, and that's where it kind of just changed. But that's.
I mean, at the time though, when you were there, we would have had the one Atari computer that went up and down the corridor on a trolley. Yep. And when we were doing the higher compositions or the composition stuff, that's you wrote it and we put it in, we keyed it in on the keyboard, and then it played it back so that we could send away the recording.
That's funny, that.
and at the time, I was reasonably young at the time, and I was right into that. I could work the Atari back and forward and all the software we had for it, and I could do all the recording stuff on that. But as the time went on, and they brought all this new stuff out, see now, I can't be bothered.
Well, here's a question though, right? So you were teaching before the internet existed.
Yes.
Been teaching for a long time since it existed.
Yeah.
Do you see a difference with how students learn? Like so far, when I was speaking to Barry, I'd say to him, you think back to when the 90s when we were learning guitar, right? Didn't have the internet.
Nope.
You didn't have YouTube to go on. There's 1,000 lessons on how to play this song, right? It was hard to get sheet music.
Yeah.
Right, there'd be music shops in town. You would pop into one. Hopefully, it would be there. Barry says to me, he got thrown out of Music City because he went upstairs to where the sheet music and the keyboards were, if you remember.
Yeah.
And he said to the guy, he found this Oasis book or Beatles, whatever it was. Mate, you got a bit of paper and a pencil? How? Oh, there's a soul here. I've been trying to figure it out. I just want to write it down because he couldn't afford to buy the book. And I'm like, nowadays, from the comfort of your phone, how do you play?
Absolutely.
And there's a million people giving lessons. It's such a great thing to have. I think back, like, see if I had my phone back then, I could have been so much better. Yeah. But then on the flip side, I keep seeing adverts saying, download this app and learn your instrument in half the time.
Yeah, no.
No. That's not how it works. No. You've still got to put in all the hours. There's no shortcuts to learning an instrument.
There's no shortcuts.
But do you see a difference in pupils prior to the internet and pupils after with regard to their ability? Or is it simply the pupils that want to learn will learn and the ones that don't won't?
I think you hit it on the head. I mean, I think there are still Ians who, no matter what, there wasn't all that around them, but they listened to this stuff and they sat with and they just listened to it again and they picked up and they worked it out in Barry, just listening and listening and listening.
Yep.
And that's what a musician should be doing, listening all the time. Nowadays they watch and there's wee things come down to play and they'll come in and say, oh miss, I can play the theme from whatever it is on the piano, and they go to the piano with like 2 fingers in one hand and 2 fingers in the other, and how they play it, I don't know.
Yep.
And they play this thing and you think, oh, it's so can I do piano as my instrument? No.
Yeah.
Because technically you're nowhere near what we need to be. We still need to teach you how to do it right.
Old school typing.
Yeah, we still need to use all the fingers, not just some of the fingers.
Yeah.
Same with the guitarists who come in and they play all these funny chords that they've learned, because there's a lot of new performers now who they play these chords that are only on 3 or 4 strings. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But the kids are strumming every string. So half of it,
funny tuning as well.
Exactly.
To make it easier.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that, and you're saying, why is that no sound right? What are you doing? You're hitting too many strings. No, that's what it's. I've watched the video, miss. That's.
I see the video as well, and it's like, you've got to go down, down, up, down, and I'm like, it's like zero feel.
I know.
But I remember you'd sit for hours. You know, my mum and dad would say that. I remember they'd sit downstairs and you could hear you. Yeah. You know, you'd come home and I would plug the guitar in. It wouldn't be them saying, you've got to sit and practice for an hour.
Yeah.
You know, it was, God's sake, would you take the guitar off him?
Yeah.
And then you're sitting and it'd be like a rock song, and, you know, it'd just be like maybe one guitar riff. And it'd be like 2 hours of just over and over and over trying to play this 10-second bit. And that's what I was trying to explain to my daughter. That's how you learn, and but you've got to do it for years.
Yeah.
No, I'm not by any means a great guitarist. I'm good. I know what I'm capable of doing now, and I'm good at doing it. There's lots of guitarists out there that are technically a lot better than me, but it's just funny that I sometimes see people try to take shortcuts with the technology now is brilliant, but it's also
It's
they try to use it as a shortcut as well. And I was like, if you want to learn an instrument, you've got to put in all the hours to try and figure it out.
It's been brilliant for us doing backing tracks, because you just go in and do a karaoke version of, and you can put them into different keys. You can do, you can put it into whatever software and use backtracks for singers for the exams. You don't always have to do. I like to play myself, because when we do a live performance with a singer, when you go in, the singer maybe want to do something different, and they do something that they've never done before, but just because they're in the moment, and I can follow them, I can go faster, I can go slower. But also,
if you've got 10 guitarists, the 10 guitarists will play it in the same key. You could have 10 singers all doing it in different keys, because it's whatever suits.
A key doesn't bother me. I can play it in any key, like. That doesn't bother me at all.
What makes a good singer, do you think?
Oh, what makes a good singer?
Because what I had said was confidence, ability,
a good listener.
The one thing is listening.
It's the listening. If you can't hear when you're singing in tune, if you can't hear the note and visualise it in your head, it'll come out wrong.
Because when I record myself, I'm glad I've got that bit in my mind. That sounds terrible. Delete that straight away. That sounds good. I'm keeping that.
Sometimes it's the words you're singing though, because the words make your singing go out of tune. Mm-hmm. Because vowels are absolute key to getting the right tone and the right
As I said to
pitch.
You, I started singing properly. Nobody's taught me how to sing. I started singing properly during lockdown.
Yeah.
And
most people good singers are usually natural.
Mm-hmm. But I'm in here playing, and obviously I said to my brother-in-law, professional singer, I said, I'm playing for like an hour and 10 minutes and my voice is gone.
Yeah.
He's like, it's because you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Now I'm doing gigs for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking breaks. No. You know, I'm singing solid for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And there's times where I'm like, I could do that another 3 hours. You know, if you're in a good mood and that.
But it's a muscle.
But he says it's muscle memory.
Yeah.
You know how to sing the song. You know what's required. It should get easier, and you can just. It's almost like you go into autopilot.
Yeah.
When you're doing it.
But it's like when you start off. If somebody said, "I'm going to start running," and you do the couch to 5k, then you do the 10k, then you do the 18k, then you do marathons, you do whole marathons, you do whatever you're going to be doing.
I never even got to the 5k.
But that is the singing thing as well.
Yeah.
Because these are muscles, and if you abuse them, they'll not work for you properly.
Yeah.
But if you treat them kindly and plenty water as a singer.
This sounds very familiar because this was my advice. But 2 hours before you start gigging, you should be drinking water, lemon and honey.
No milk.
Maybe a wee bit of ginger.
Yeah.
Don't be drinking pints when you're there.
No.
But it's weird because occasionally you see the famous person and you're like, how the hell... You know those people you're really jealous of that have just naturally got the coolest voice ever.
Yeah.
But that's not normally what happens.
No.
You know.
And plus, see through the day with your job, do you speak to a lot of people, or are you working things out and on the computer and kind of silence?
Both.
So you're on voice rest.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing that's
if my brother-in-law's performing that evening,
he's not speaking
during the day.
No, that's exactly right. Exactly right.
But I probably do everything wrong, but it kind of works for us. But of all the instruments you play, which one of you are you most comfortable, strongest playing? Piano?
It has to be the piano, yeah.
Is there another instrument you wish that you could play that you don't?
Is there another instrument that I wish I could play that I don't? I did try when my son Jamie was wee. I did quite fancy being a Scottish fiddler.
Right.
You know, and doing just a bit of traditional stuff. But Jamie, he started it off, so we thought, right, we'll do it the Suzuki method, where the parent learns with the child, and then you practice with them.
Bounce off each other.
And you bounce off each other, you see, to get them going. This is how the Japanese do it, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And
let's see how well this works.
And we'll just see how well this works.
Yep.
So I got this. Somebody brought a violin that didn't use anymore, and he got a wee one as well. And so for ages we were plucking, and then eventually Jamie just said, "Look, I'm not playing that plucking violin anymore," he said to me. And I kept going for a wee while, but I couldn't do when you're moving your fingers, your fingers move that way, and the bow goes that way and across the string, and you've got to make sure I couldn't get this to go
but
right.
It's amazing though, because it's like anything. If you see someone doing it that's good, they make it look easy.
Absolutely.
It could be like kicking a football, hitting a tennis ball, playing snooker, drummer, guitarist. Like if they're good at it, they look easy. The best compliment I got when I was doing a gig was they were standing quite close. It was my friend's girlfriend. She's like, "What's amazing? You're just singing and your hand's just working by itself."
I know.
Obviously it's not. You're thinking about what you're doing.
But it looks natural, feels natural.
But I've also played these songs a million times.
Yeah.
you know.
But that's the key. You've played them a million times.
Yeah.
You've played it over and over and over, and every time you've played it, the muscle memory kicks in and kicks in.
I was trying to get Stuart to us, because I do a stomp box as well. So you tap your foot.
Yeah.
And there's loads of people, they can't do it. It's weird. I find that weird
Yes.
as a guitarist.
Yeah.
But they're already thinking about singing and playing. So they've got to do a third one of tapping. But
Yeah.
it's weird, because I'm like, I introduced that a few years ago, and I'm like, I actually sound better now.
So like a
than I'm doing it.
cajon.
Yeah, well, I've not got it here. It used to be like it's like a wooden block with a pickup inside. Just tap your foot and dum dum dum. It sounds like a bass drum from
I've got
drum kit.
Yeah.
But if you're controlling a crowd, if they're clapping along, if they're singing and dancing,
it really
you can make it,
amplifies it.
Yeah, like a wave. You can go fast, you can go slow. It's quite interesting to see how you can control a crowd if you've got the right group of people in when you're playing. But you've been teaching for 40 years.
Well, this is my 40th year.
40th year.
Yes, I got a letter from the Falkirk Council to tell me this would be my 40th year with them, and they would be at the moment
giving you a massive
they
bonus.
would be giving me £800. Although these things are being looked into, so I think by the time I get to the end of this year, they'll have cut it because there's no enough money in the budget.
Of course. Teaching stuff. What's some of the most rewarding things that you've found about teaching over the years, or is it simply just seeing someone's starting high school, getting all the way through it, and they get the exam results that they want? Is it simple as that?
It's not just the exam results, although we do, and I have to pride myself, most of my classes get A's. When they come to my class and they start off, I always go, now, I'm not here to be your pal, I'm here to be your teacher.
Yep.
I'm going to make you do things over and over and over again. I'm going to say things over and over and over again, and you're going to hate me for it, but it's going to just naturally go into your wee heads. And when you open the paper and you go, oh, I get that. Oh, I know that.
Miss Ibbotson never said that to me. She's my pal.
It's that. And I always say that, and I said, and my results speak for themselves. Nearly all my classes get A's. The ones who maybe get a B and a C, it's a miracle for them to get that B and C. It's maybe the only B and C they've got.
Yeah.
So my expectation is high. So please don't expect me to be your pal. But if you're working for me, you're working for you, because it's your exam, it's no mine.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I think a teacher is only there to light a wee pilot light. And see the rest of it. It has to be done by the kid.
Aye, I mean, technology is far more brilliant today than it ever was when I was at school and back then.
It's not about the technology though, Ian. It's about
you've still got, it's still the same.
Somebody sitting,
You've still got to put the time and effort in, learn what you've got to learn.
Saying to you, here's the piece, I want you to learn these 3 or 4 chords, and you go home and you learn these 3 or 4 chords, and then you've learnt them, and then you go back the next week and you learn some more chords, and then you start to learn things for yourself, and see that learning for yourself. That is where that's where I go, oh, thank you God, that's it.
What about, do you hear of kids still doing bands? Because this was the funny thing. I said to my daughter a few years ago, when she was kind of 6th year, I think, at high school, I said, did any of your pals play instruments? Yeah, a couple of them play guitar and somebody plays the drums. Are any of them in bands? Oh my God, Dad, that is the most embarrassing thing you have ever said. See, when I was at school, the coolest thing you could have done was being in a band. And it was almost a bit like that film Bill and Ted, right? Your band, you didn't have to be able to play.
No.
Or be any good.
No, you
just be in a band was the coolest thing ever. You're looking cool in front of the lassies and all that. Just didn't ask me to play because I can't play anything.
There are still kids who are in bands.
That's good.
Thank God. They still get together. Socially, it's great for them. Just confidence, it's great for them. And because of technology, they can interact. If they've not got a bass player, they just put a thing out for looking for a bass player to play such and such and such and such.
Well, I spoke to a band last week that was on, slightly older than myself, a Falkirk band. And I was saying to them, how did the band...
What was the band called?
Weird Decibels.
Weird Decibels, no.
Right. And I said to them, how did the band start? And it's funny because we were talking about how bands started, and I'm like, I remember there used to be an Ad Trader newspaper Monday to Friday it was coloured blue for some reason. Saturday, Sunday it was yellow. You could free advertise in it, sell anything, and there was a section for music. You'd phone up, like, guitarist, Bonnybridge area, looking for bass player, likes this kind of music. That's how you got a band together.
Yeah.
Nowadays, into social media, dead easy. But it's done differently, but it's the same thing.
They still have to get on.
Yeah.
And when they get together, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
But do you not see as well, though, you don't realise it back then, but see even like two guitarists and a drummer getting together, they don't realise that alone makes you a better player.
Yes.
They don't realise it, but
No.
even just that guitarist showing you this wee guitar riff and you learn how to like listen to others.
That's exactly. And the people who don't want to learn to listen because they're too interested in themselves can't be in a band. And usually are the ones that are asked to leave.
Get.
Yeah.
Question for you. Knowing what you know now, if you could go back in time, would you still do teaching, or do you think you would maybe try something else?
I still always wanted to be on the stage. But you know what? See, in the classroom, because I have lightened up. I think if you were to come into my classroom nowadays...
I don't believe that.
I have lightened up. See, the thing is, when you go into a classroom as a teacher, the fear is that the class will eat you alive.
You've got to control them from day one.
So you have to put your mark on that class. You can't go in and go, hello everybody, I'm here to be your friend, and because I know there are a lot of young teachers who do that, and it's
It's funny, I remember back in school, and obviously you couldn't get the belt or anything when I was at school even, but...
It just gone out.
Yeah.
Just about 5 years before that.
But I remember being at school and there was teachers, won't mention names of that, but there was teachers that the entire 1 hour class, there's times when it never even got started because the class, it was a bad class, there was bad people in it, it was disruptive, the teacher could not handle it.
No.
Right? There was other teachers, you being one of them. I had a really great English teacher, I can't remember her name now. They just had something about them. They came in and you're like, I know I can't. Now, I wasn't really the one that would be messing about, but the ones that are proper troublemakers, there were certain teachers, I can't get away with it.
No.
In this class. And,
who was your English teacher then? Was it?
I can't remember her name now.
What did she look like?
She was definitely older, so she's probably long retired.
Was it Mrs. Young?
Mrs. Young.
Mrs. Young.
Yeah. Lovely lady.
Yes, but strict and knew her stuff.
But, no, she was a lovely lady, but you just knew you
don't mess about.
Don't piss off.
No, don't.
You're here to work.
You're here to work. You're here
I'll
to
show
learn.
you respect. You show me respect, and we'll get on perfectly fine. But don't take the piss.
Yeah.
You were a bit like that, but I kind of think if you were a teacher, you would need to be like that. You would just need to be.
You have to have that line.
Because I've seen the teachers that didn't have it, and it must have been hell.
Yeah.
I kind of think, like, I was in some classes where there was just idiots in the class.
Yeah.
And I kind of think, if I was a teacher, knowing that this hour was coming up every week, that would fill you with dread. You'd probably end up going off on the sick.
Oh, listen, I absolutely agree. Every year I have one dodgy class. One dodgy class that I sweat when I go into.
Yep.
Right? And people say, no, surely no. Because usually in the department, if there's a sushi going on, it's usually me that goes out and tries and deals with it.
Yeah.
Right? You come with me.
Yep.
But there's always one class, and it takes me about, I'd say about 8 weeks to 10 weeks, and then eventually I just keep
settle down.
I just keep going away at it and going away. No, you'll need to leave.
Is it the old thing of
you're doing that?
If you tackle the 2 or 3,
you tackle the 1 or 2,
and then the rest of them follow suit,
and then you get on with good stuff. You go, oh, you're doing brilliant. That's fantastic.
Yep.
Right, come on, you go on the drums, and I'll show you the drums.
Yep.
And the thing I have to do with a class like that is because they look at me and they think, oh, she's an old bitch. What's she going to teach us, right? And I just get myself in the drum kit and I go, right, okay. So when we're doing the drum kit, we're going to go. We could do the rock. We could do the. We could do the. Now, I am not the most brilliant drummer in the world, but I can knock out a couple of rhythms and a couple of good fills.
Yep.
And they just stand there and they go, holy shit, this wifey actually can actually play the drums. So maybe I'll pay attention.
This might be something I could look forward to each week rather than
this might be
button heads all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can only play about I can only play about 12 chords to guitar, but like I can play the opening of a Crazy Little Thing Called Love. And see that riff, see when you play that.
See Johnny Cash's career,
and they go
4 chords. He's done a pretty good career out of 4 chords, Johnny Cash.
Exactly. And the kids then look at you and
Oasis
think,
are back together. You know, most of their songs 5 or 6 chords.
I can play the first couple of chords of Wonderwall. I just clip in the opening bit, and they'll go, "Oh my God, miss, can you play that?" No, all the way through, no.
Right, get a microphone. No. Right, but I was going to say, let's see where we're at.
You asked me what my greatest thing was, like as a teacher, like when you're watching them go through, is it I'm seeing them to the end of their exam? It's not that. It's things like this where I meet my former pupils and they have done just great things with their life and they're still involved in music, even though it's only on just for fun.
Yeah.
You know, or doing it professionally. Like last week, going down to see London, to see Stuart and that, I sat and cried every time he came onto the stage. I sat and cried, and that was brilliant.
But you'll still remember
not
him
just
being
that. It's like
the wee
Barry
guy.
coming in, you know, and he started off
Came
driving
in,
the buses. Spoke to the students.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
And he's such a. I can imagine him coming across really well, like with the students.
Even at the college, we send a lot of because they do the.
I think I've seen that. And he kind of gave them a tour,
and they go to
his.
And I always say, "Oh, who have you got for your thing?" And, "Oh, we've got this Barry Frame, miss. He says he knows you." I said, "Oh, he's lovely. He's lovely. He was a naughty boy at the school," and I always say that. "Oh, he was a naughty boy at the school."
Yeah.
But
he told me he was just misunderstood.
Miss Ibbotson loved him, and so did Mrs. Reekie. I didn't. He was taught by them more than me. I didn't actually have him in class.
So I was pretty much Miss Ibbotson 1st to 4th year.
Yeah.
And then yourself, and it was only Mrs. Reekie for one little module in 6th year.
And the part of it, right?
Yeah, but it was funny. It was funny meeting her, as I said. But obviously, you play the instruments. Your husband plays. Do you write music? Like, do your own songs or anything?
No, I have tried. What I do?
Or do you fancy trying it?
No, I've got too many chord patterns in my head.
Right.
From songs, like so that I've played either in shows because I've MD'd shows.
Right. Okay.
Or just stuff that I've done at the school, the same sort, because like the same. See when you're trying to give out the songs for this year. What about this one? Do you fancy this one? Well, what about that one then? Let's try this one. And you're trying to get them to make their choices as much as possible, but you're trying to make their choices as wide as possible. Because the thing I hate about a kid is if I only like Metallica and I'm only playing Metallica.
Jeez, that sounds like.
Do you know, because. The music world is much wider than that.
Yeah.
And you do have to like widen their horizons.
Yeah.
And I think I've tried to write songs. I can't write anything. I'd love to write a musical, but I can't. What I'm quite good at though.
A song.
No, it sounds always. I get halfway through and I go, it sounds like something else.
Right. Okay.
There's too many things that it sounds like.
You're maybe overthinking it.
Maybe, but it's not really something that I've really liked. But I do write funny words to songs when people leave.
Right, okay.
So like when Mrs. Reekie left, I wrote funny words to Copacabana.
Right, okay.
For her leaving, and I always, I'm quite good at that.
I'm still shocked that I met Mrs. Reekie at a rock concert.
Oh, she's...
Because I just never, of all the people you would have thought that you would have bumped into in a queue, it would not have been Mrs. Reekie. She's looking at me like, I know your face, but I can't remember who you are, because obviously it's 27 years ago and she's probably taught a lot of people. Ian McNutry, you contacted Linda not too long ago and we kind of got chatting, but I did not expect to see her at a rock concert.
She absolutely loves rock music, and I think that's a thing until, see, first, second, third year, You keep yourself apart from the kids. You don't really share too much. You give them the occasional, what were you doing the weekend, miss? You know, oh, I was at this concert. Oh, do you like them? Blah, 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 whatever. You know, or they come in and they'll say, I saw you in Tesco's. It's like you're some... Did you know?
Yes, I also have to eat outside of
Teachers
school.
do have to go to Tesco's, you know. But see, when it gets to 4th, 5th and 6th year, you're a different character with your seniors.
But you're also getting a wee bit older as a pupil.
Absolutely.
So you'd like to think you mature a wee bit.
Yeah.
It used to always be, back when I was at school, after 4th year, most of the troublemakers shifted on elsewhere.
They had shifted on.
And,
or they realised, oh, hang on a minute, most of my pals who I was mucking about with, they've left
I've
now.
not got them to bounce off anymore.
And I'm actually wanting to go and do something, so I'm going to need to wire down now.
Yeah.
You know, I want to at least have a couple of exams to go out with, so that I'm no just staying wherever I'm staying and never move anyplace else.
Yep. So, we've obviously spoke a lot about your career. Before we finish up, I'd like to ask some fun questions.
Fun questions?
I'll ask the questions, you tell me what pops into your mind.
Oh my God, right. Okay.
So, imagine you could go back in time, anywhere in the world, big concert, small concert, I'll let you decide. What is the one concert that you wish you could have attended?
I think it would be a toss-up between that's like picking your favourite child, that.
Answer could change every day, but for today, what is your answer?
For today, probably ELO. I'd like to go back and see more ELO live.
Okay. As you know, thousands and thousands of great songs written across the years, different bands, different artists. What's the one song you think would maybe be fun to sit in the recording studio and witness the song being recorded?
Oh. Well, bit cheesy, but I'm sorry, but it has to be ABBA. Thank You for the Music. I would have liked to have been there when they recorded that.
Got a question from one of your former pupils.
Oh.
He sent me, so let's see if we can get this working. Right, here we go. So, he's a bit of a troublemaker, but here we go.
Hi Linda, a question I always wanted to know. So, you've taught many students over the years. Some good, some not so good. Obviously, some with some challenges, some with not so many challenges. But what I want to know was, who was the biggest pain in the arse of a student you had? Love you to bits, dog.
Well, it wasn't Barry, because
I hope it wasn't me.
No, it wasn't you either. I don't think I could, no. Because they might have been a pain in the arse, but do you know what? See the ones that were a pain in the arse? Like Barry, like yourself, bro musicians. So that just kind of calms down the bit about the pain in the arse. I don't mind that. Because you have to have personality. Translate pain in the arse as personality. Because, it's like you were speaking earlier on about somebody who can play the notes.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Sure.
You need to have something there. So it's either soul or feeling or love or something, or it's personality because you're a bit of a white boy.
All right. If Barry's watching this, Barry, she told me off camera that you were the biggest pain in the arse. Right. Does the perfect album start to finish exist? And if so, what is the album?
Oh, man.
ABBA, Blondie, you've mentioned some of these classic bands.
Right, I'm going to be a bit wild here because one of my best pieces of music that I love,
Yep.
I absolutely adore Shostakovich.
Okay.
So that's not really a band, that's a composer. And he has written some smashing stuff. And we went to see, when I was 60 last year, I went to Berlin to see the Berlin Philharmonic
Yep.
playing Shostakovich 7th Symphony, and I cried all the way through it.
Blew your mind.
Because it blew my mind. It's one of these that builds and builds and builds, and it's got two snare drummers that just get louder and louder and louder, because it's all about kind of the Russian Revolution and the kickback from that. And both me and my husband sat at the back, and they've built this special concert hall that's acoustically, because the Germans,
sounds absolutely spot on.
you could sit any place and you'll get the same marvellous sound.
Yeah.
And that was a big high point.
This will lead into the very last question. It might be it might be part of the answer. Who is your Mount Rushmore? So who's the 4 bands, musicians, composers? Who's the 4 for you that you just see as perfection?
Right. Sting. ABBA. Sorry to be cheesy, but that's
fine.
my grown up thing, you see.
That's the great thing about music, though. There's no right or wrong answer.
No. Who else? I do like Harry Connick Jr. Bit of jazz.
I'm liking this. There's a big variety here.
Oh, listen, as I said, I can go to anything.
One more.
Who would it be? Have I said Blondie?
Go with Blondie.
Yeah,
Cool.
I like a bit of Blondie.
Linda, thank you so much for coming on,
Not at all.
answering all my questions, answering Barry's question. He's some boy.
I didn't really
He's some
answer
boy.
his question.
And when the retirement comes, whenever that may be, I hope you put your feet up and enjoy it, because you've worked your arse off for quite a while.
Well, I won't be putting my feet up and enjoying it. I want to do other things with music. Things that I
write an
haven't
album.
done.
Write an album. That's what you want to do.
No. I want to get more involved with youngsters and music theatre, and maybe go into, I don't know, old folks' homes, look at music
That'll come.
therapy
You're
type
getting
things.
old.
So I don't want to be sitting doing, nothing. I think there's more
No, you've
to
got
come.
plenty of stuff to keep you occupied.
I think as a musician, you're a musician till you die.
Yep. Well, it's been nice.
As-
It's been nice speaking to you.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you.